everyone, and welcome to another stream! How's everyone doing? As you can see, we finally got the new costume in. My Lady Spock costume has arrived. I am, logical and all that. I said I'd buy a costume, I didn't say I'd do a character. This is enough. How's everyone doing? Good, I hope. I even got the ears, look at that! I'm all professional. Woohoo! And I can do the hand thing, more so on this hand. I can kind of do it over here. We got this one. This one's enough. How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful Friday so far. Today we have all sorts of weird Chud vids to take a look at, including Jordan Peterson claiming that Donald Trump is a superhero, Tucker Carlson calling Trump daddy, and more. So we have a bunch of stuff that'll disappoint you, as I am just every day in the human race. So that's good. Welcome, everyone. What's humpin'? What's humpin' indeed? MSKTB89, thanks for 40 months, says, oh boy, I'm gonna listen in my drive to work and catch the rest later. Well, I hope you enjoy the VOD. Thank you very much. What's the difference between Lady Spock and female Vulcan? I said Lady Spock in case there are people who don't know who Vulcans are. In reality, this costume is technically any female Vulcan science officer on a Federation ship circa the 23rd century, really. In fact, it makes less sense if I am Spock. I like that someone said Tahan. Tahan is a good name for me in this outfit. Toreador says, you have been and always shall be our streamer. Pretty good. Pretty good. Search for Spock. He called America a naughty little girl that needs daddy to spank her. Oh, I know. I have that clip pulled up. Am I doing a PO unboxing today? I am. I am doing a PO unboxing. Let's actually do that. Let's do that first. Oops, that's the wrong button. This one. Try this. I will do the PO unboxing. So firstly, the first thing we had was the VHS tapes. I got a box and note from someone who sent a bunch of home-recorded Japanese television stations, so thank you for that. I haven't gotten a chance to play the videos yet, but it's very cool, and I didn't know if you wanted me to read the note, so I won't. But do know, I did receive them. Do the next thing. I'm wearing leggings, because this is unfortunately very short. Address doesn't appear. Thanks, Overthought. I'm very serious. I'm a very serious streamer. Wrapped like a brick of cocaine. I hope I wasn't sent cocaine. Not cocaine. Sounds like a videotape. Just give you credit? Alright, Rick M. There you go. There's the credit. Oh good, this is gonna be difficult to open. My favorite. Die, bubble wrap. I have no time for your malfeasance. Lady Spock is hot? Thank you. Oh, that might be YouTube chat. You're not supposed to see that. Because Twitch doesn't want you to see YouTube chat. That's a weird rule they have. Really? Galaxy of Miscellaneous Stuff? Galaxy of Miscellaneous Stuff says, the ears are a little long. Hannah looks, no offense, like an elf. Vulcans are basically space elves! Also, my hair's long enough that if I didn't have longer ears, you wouldn't see it. And it's part of the costume. God damn, everyone's a critic. This is wrapped 10,000 times. There we go. Okay, we have some DVDs. There's no note. Oh wait, maybe there is between them. There is! Hi, Hannah. Don't open until you're live on stream. From, Jay in Arizona. Okay. I am live on stream. So the movies it came with are 10 rules for dealing with the police, and an unknown encounter, a true account of the San Pedro haunting, which sounds interesting. And then, Hannah, don't open until you're live on stream. I'm live on stream. Is this gonna explode? Am I gonna get exploded? Hey! They're Spy Kids 3D Game Over glasses. That's pretty good. It still has the string, too! These are hard to find without the string, if I'm being honest. That's a good one. Thank you. I now have 2 pair! Look! Except the one I had doesn't have the string, because I got rid of it when I was a kid. Well, thank you very much. Now I have an extra pair. This new pair is nicer than my old ones. Oh. You can have YouTube chat on screen, you can't mix it with Twitch chat? That's weird. Oh no! Up there. Okay, and then there's one more box that sounds like maybe snacks or something, I'm not sure. There's 3D movie you saw? Probably for me too, honestly. The second was Shark Boy and Lava Girl, I remember that. Well, this is well secured. Good job, whoever did this. Not so good for me, though. I'm not good at opening stuff. Especially not when I'm talking. Open! I believe in you, Scissors. Breaches and Hose says, I voted early today. Don't know how much good it'll do in West Virginia, but I did. Thank you very much. I won't open. Okay, this side doesn't have an end. You're seeing me in angles I'm not preferring, if I'm being honest. Come on. Don't do this at home. This is improper use of scissors. You did it. Oh, it's more of those chips. Trey says, hey Hannah, just swinging by while I'm at Legoland. I DM'd you some round earth propaganda I saw while here. Feel free to share. Anyways, just was some kid being mean to my nephew, and got to help with that. Have fun. Hope you're having a good time. Legoland seems fun. I did see the picture you sent. Very cool. Indeed. We have some of the all-dressed chips, I think, or the kettle-style voodoo chips. And some other stuff. Ooh. A book. The Meaning of It All by Richard Feynman. Cheese Wheeze. They're called Cheese Wheeze. Okay. Ah. Then there's a note. And another bag. Let's read this note, and then we can get into Chuds. Scalix5, thanks for 8 months. Isaac Inanimate with the 3-stream streak says, someone send Hannah one of those dumb Vulcan spears that open packages with stat. Let's see what this note says. Hey Hannah Baja Kitties, picked this book up for you back when you said you hadn't read anything by Feynman. Then I forgot to send it, figured it's long past I fixed that. Oh, and if you're up for a quick fetch quest, there's a nifty old book called Separated Brethren on the various Christian denominations. The MSU Surplus Store has the 1958 hardcover for $250 on eBay and 200% extra for shipping, but free local pickup. My mom has the 1963 softcover, and I remember it being discreetly catty, R.E. The Newer Faiths might be a fun read. And then, P.S. Chewies predate Cheetos. Tell me what you think. Okay, I'll try some of these. Oh, and there's one more thing. There's capitalism out there. Here, take this, is what it says. Oh! Oh! It's just money. It's literally just dollar bills. I was literally just sent cash in the mail. Like, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. That's a $5 tip. Cool beans. Thank you very much. And I'll try one of these. We'll decide what's superior. These are Cheetos. They smell good. They have that beautiful nuclear orange that you need out of your orange Cheeto-like snacks. They're good. I don't know if I like them as much as Cheetos, but they're pretty good. Skifazoa, thanks for tier 2 for 42 months. Says 42 months. I voted on Monday, my first time voting in a presidential election. Well, thank you so much for voting. We all appreciate it. Yeah, the light blows out the... How about this? Oops. Wrong button. Try this. There, can you see it now? Thank you very much for those snacks and book. I appreciate it. Put these aside. And now it's time for Chud Watch. Thanks, everyone. If you want to send me more things, you can use the P.O. Box command in chat. It's !point P.O. Box, no space. And you can send me stuff. Count Air STV, thanks for following. Freyline with 40-bit says, Dr. Baja should be Lady Kirk and you can have a totally not homoerotic fight. That sounds fun. That won't be on stream, though. That'll just be for us. Toreador says it's snacks, but not as we know it, Hannah. Alright. So let's get into some of the shorter stuff before we get into the other stuff. Let's start off with the Tucker Carlson thing, because this is so creepy. I just need us to get this out of the way so I don't have to ever listen to it again. Here he compares, I guess, anyone who doesn't vote for Trump as a naughty, naughty little girl that needs to be spanked by daddy, which, is a really gross way to talk about millions of people that you disagree with.
And the second reason you can't allow...
1 second, gotta turn them up.
...it is very familiar to anyone who has children, which is if you allow it, you will encourage more of it. If you allow people to get away with things that are completely over the top and outrageous, if you allow your 2-year-old to smear the contents of his diapers on the wall of your living room,
like when January 6ers shit all over the Capitol building. Feels like maybe a little bit of projection.
And you do nothing about it. If you allow your 14-year-old to light a joint at the breakfast table. If you allow your hormone-addled 15-year-old daughter to, like, slam the door of her bedroom and give you the finger, you're gonna get more of it. And those kids are gonna wind up in rehab. It's not good for you, and it's not good for them. No. There has to be a point at which dad comes home.
The amount of people who are begging for an authoritarian to come in and take all their rights away so they don't have to think is scary. Incredibly scary. Ashley One Up says, everything okay at home, Tucker? Yeah, his description of a house is weird, too. Like, you think you're gonna fix any problems within your family by committing physical violence against them? Very Steven Anderson of him.
Yeah, that's right. Dad comes home. And he's pissed. Dad is pissed. He's not vengeful. He loves his children. Disobedient as they may be, he loves them. Because they're his children, they live in his house.
This scares me. Someone just being a vengeful asshole, like, that's a problem in and of itself, obviously. But at least it's honest. At least it's someone's recognizing that they want to hurt other people. This is what you should be afraid of, is people doing atrocities and wanting to harm people, but they believe they're doing a righteous act. There's no pause. There's no reason for them to consider changing course, because as far as they're concerned, they're the good guys. They'll do the worst things possible while thinking of themselves as some sort of idealized father figure instead of a totalitarian psycho. Horrifying. H-Baird says, the biggest letdown of the Wagner Group coup in Russia failing is that we didn't get to see which influencers would suddenly be silent.
But he's very disappointed in their behavior, and he's going to have to let them know. He's going to have to get to your room right now and think about what you did.
Thanks for gifting a sub, Anonymous.
And when Dad gets home, you know what he says? You've been a bad girl.
Horrifying. Someone in YouTube chat asked me to remind people to check their voter registration, because they and their boyfriend got turned away at the polls despite being registered. So make sure you check your registration before election day or whenever you go to vote if you have early voting.
You've been a bad little girl and you're getting a vigorous spanking right now. And no, it's not gonna hurt me more than
Sick people fucking clapping for this shit, abusing your children,
it hurts you.
and using that as a comparison to what they think should be done to American adults.
No, it's not. I'm not gonna lie. This is gonna hurt you a lot more than it hurts me. And you earned this. You're getting a vigorous spanking because you've been a bad girl. And it has to be this way. It has to be this way because it's true. And you're only gonna get better when you take responsibility for what you did. That's not said in the spirit of hate. It's not said in the spirit of vengeance or bigotry. Far from it. It's said in the spirit of justice.
See what I mean? They don't consider what they're doing wrong. In fact, the opposite. They believe they're the righteous white knight riding in to save everyone from corruption.
Which is the purest and best thing there is. And without it, things fall apart.
Oh, so he's a creep. Good to know. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene doing a little bit of slander on Dominion voting machines. You know, the people that successfully sued Fox News for like $1 billion. So she's taking a crack at it now.
In my district, and so Whitfield County, someone posted up that when they went to vote in Whitfield County here in Georgia's 14th district, now remember, we're a swing state and we need everyone to vote in my district. And so they went to vote, and we have the Dominion machines. And you go through and you mark president, you mark, for Congress, that would be me.
Chitara says, are we going to talk about Tim Pool deciding to step back from his shows to focus on Check's notes impregnating someone? That is hilarious. He said he was going to step back for his family, but he doesn't have a family. When he says step back for his family, he means he wants to go try and find someone to impregnate. Ashley One Up says, every woman after hearing Tucker talk.
There goes the last lingering thread of my heterosexuality.
They marked Donald Trump, and they marked who they were voting for the rest of the way down their ballot on the machine. Then when they're finished, the machine prints their ballot, a paper copy, a printed copy, and each voter has to review that printed copy to make sure that it has selected the candidates that they want to vote for. And so when this voter printed their ballot and they looked, it had changed. It was not Donald.
Yeah, if this story even happened, I'm guessing old person user error. That's one of the reasons you get the paper one, is so you can look at it and check and make sure it's okay, which they fixed, presumably, because they noticed.
Donald Trump. It was not me, and it was not the other ones they had voted for. It had switched. And so they went up to one of the election
It was
workers,
human error.
They said, here's
Funny.
the problem. The machine switched it, and my printed ballot, I did not vote for these people. So they had to start over, and they went through it several times, and it kept on making the same error, kept on switching the votes. And so this is something we're just starting to look into today, because I just found out about it this morning before I came on your show today. But we will be following up, and I'll be talking to election workers and officials here in the district and making sure that this happens, that these ballots are correct, because that's extremely concerning. It sounds similar to what we heard in 2020, but there's other things that I'm concerned about, Alex. Here in Georgia, we fixed our voting laws, but states that did not fix their voting laws is Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, extremely important swing states.
There was nothing that needed to be fixed. There wasn't fraud in 2020. He just lost.
Fixed their election laws after 2020.
H-Baird says, something I assumed was going to happen in 2020 that may be happening now is Republicans engaging in voter fraud so that they can actually show evidence this time. I mean, some did in 2020, or in 2022 I saw some during the midterms, Republicans that voted twice and got caught. Similar situations.
And then you add on to that the amount of concerns that we have about people being sent emails overseas telling them how to obtain an absentee ballot. And
yeah, when you're an American and you're living in another country or you're stationed in another country with the military, you can still vote in American elections. Fun fact.
Telling them how to send it in by email, literally sending it in electronically, how to vote in our elections from overseas.
I feel like she knows she's being disingenuous here, too, because it's not even like she said foreigners are voting. She said people who are overseas. It's being sent to American citizens, so she must know it's Americans voting.
The list goes on and on and on, and then you add on the number of illegal aliens that we are concerned voting in our elections.
0 undocumented immigrants vote. You cannot vote if you aren't a citizen. You cannot register to vote if you're not a citizen.
There's a good reason why people are skeptical. There's a good reason why people don't trust our elections, rightfully so. And everyone I talk to feels like Donald Trump would win by a landslide if they don't steal the election.
Priming them so that when or if he doesn't win, it must be fraud. You see this all the time.
Because, Alex, you got the poly market. The betting market is going hard for Donald Trump.
The betting market is nothing. What does it matter what a bunch of crypto bros are betting on? That's not scientific polling. What are you talking about?
You've got everyone you talk to from every business sector is saying Trump is going to win. And you talk about signs in people's yards. There are Trump signs all over this country in people's yards, not the ones they stick out on the gas station corners that...
We're doing the signs thing again? Didn't help in 2020.
That campaign workers do. People that actually put them in their yards are putting Trump Vance signs in their yards, and that's all over the country. It's not for Kamala Harris or Tim Walz. It's for Donald Trump and JD.
Oh, the brain rot. Oh, here's one of the Fox and Friends hosts trying to justify Donald Trump saying he wanted generals like Hitler's generals. Here's him trying to justify that statement.
But the bottom line is, if you read H.R. McMaster's book, who is critical of President Trump in some of it and not in others, he talks about how Madison Kelly didn't like the president. And they didn't think he deserved the job, or they didn't think he was worthy of the job. And they went out of his way to make sure a lot of the things they asked him to do that they didn't like never got done. McMaster would be frustrated because he couldn't get their attention. And he would say, it's not your job to rein in the president. It's your job to do what the president wants. And then you factor in the fact that he runs his own company, coming from the business world, the first one we've ever had. It's not even a public company. And then he obviously has frustration. And I could absolutely see him go, now, you know what? It would be great to have German generals that actually do what we asked them to do.
Didn't say German generals. He said Hitler's generals. Kind of a distinction there, you think?
Knowing that's a third, maybe not fully being cognizant of the third rail of German generals who were Nazis and whatever. But he...
You know, just the normal thing. You forget that Nazis are Nazis. You forget that Hitler's generals were Nazis. That's a normal thing you forget when you're praising Hitler's generals. Chitara says, these folks also want to have people hand count thousands of ballots. millions of ballots, millions of people vote. If they're worried about election security, they're literally advocating for worsening it. On top of that, when people are like, let's go back to the old days, my sibling and Paul, democracies have been automating vote counting for centuries.
He was frustrated with the slowdown of
It wasn't just a slowdown, it was insubordination. And there is a culture within Washington, not just when it comes to the generals, who, by the way, should be fired after what happened in Afghanistan, of insubordination in the sense that the bureaucrats run the government. The founders did not design this country to be that way. Unelected people don't get to run the country, even if you have 4 stars behind your name. And I think they were very frustrated that you had this outside guy that says, listen, I'm in charge now.
Yeah, if you have a dipshit that doesn't know what he's doing, trying to tell you what to do and ruin everyone's lives, you probably aren't super incentivized to do that. Benikagami says, MAGA's so famously crazy, no, including sheriffs, that Harris voters are terrified of announcing themselves with signs. Also, military swears an oath to the Constitution, not the president. Let's see what else we got before we get into some of the other stuff.
Political covenant would the perfect political covenant would be one that explicitly acknowledges the lordship of Christ, right? So in a way, any nation can have a legitimate covenant and it order itself according to it, but in order for it to be actually complete and perfected and proper, it would explicitly acknowledge the lordship of Christ.
Yes.
And and I've said like that. I always say it was a complete mistake that the founders didn't do that. There were objections before it was ratified.
Not a bug, it's a feature. The lack of mentioning of Jesus or any specific Christian thing in the Constitution was not an oversight. It was a specific choice made.
That they said that yes, it should have, it should acknowledge Christ, and they just didn't want to go back and go through the struggle to produce a new one.
Yeah.
Really? They just wrote the document and they would have had to rewrite it. So what a pain. That's what he's going with? Ugh.
There is no biblical model where God has his ministers remain silent with civil leaders or about civil issues. Listen to this. You don't need to write this down, but just listen to this. In 2 Kings 21, Elijah confronted King Ahab and Queen Jezebel over their unjust use of eminent domain and religious persecution. In 1 Chronicles 32, Isaiah confronted King Hezekiah over his national security failures and issues related to the treasury. In 2 Chronicles 19, Eleazar and Jehu confronted King Jehoshaphat over blunders in his foreign relations and irresponsible economic decisions. In Jeremiah 34, Jeremiah confronted King Zedekiah over his wicked public policies. In Daniel 4, Daniel confronted Nebuchadnezzar over his arrogance. In 1 Samuel 13, Samuel confronted King Saul over not fulfilling his assigned responsibilities.
Kind of sounds like stuff Trump would do. Weird that you're not talking about him. Toreador says, then get ready to render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, you god-baiting Gordon Gekko.
They were calling them out. In 2 Samuel 12:7, Nathan confronted King David regarding his immorality.
In spite of the January 6th insurrection fiction that was sold to you.
Not a fiction, I watched it live. You literally watched it live.
Republicans and conservatives aren't really the riot crowd.
Except they are? They are.
The left is. Their NGOs are funded. And if Trump wins, boom, there'll be instantaneous manifestations of demons all over the country.
Manifestations of demons. Everyone I don't like is demons.
I have become a one-issue voter, except this time it's a different issue. And the issue this time is which candidate hates Americans and wants our people to drown and not be able to afford groceries. And then which...
I don't think either of them is. Like, believe it or not, I don't think Trump hates Americans. I just think he only cares about himself, and he's pretty apathetic about literally anything else. What are you talking about? He doesn't give a shit about you.
candidate
Toreador says dollar store Matt Walsh
says, you know what? We should deport millions of illegal immigrants and criminals who are murdering natural citizens. That's where I'm at. I'm not even super excited about that. I wish the country, I mean, that's pretty sad and pathetic. That's where we are. It's like, hey, who doesn't hate, which person running for local office doesn't hate the very people who are voting for them? It's like the lowest bar you could possibly imagine. That's where we are. But even that, even with the election, these things are so tense. Part of it's because it's 2024. It's an election year. But even with that, it comes down to the ordo amoris. It comes down to natural affections, natural loves. And these are categories that Christians have always had for a very, very long time. But we lost them over the last century. We lost them. And we started to feel guilty for certain things that the Bible doesn't actually condemn. We were blessed by God, these United
Like what? Give specifics.
States with much prosperity, much success, much strength and victory. And instead of offering to the Lord as a response for all his blessing, offering him gratitude, instead we chose to respond with guilt. And so out of guilt for all the blessing that he gave us, we decided that we should just give all the blessing away. And instead of it belonging to us and our posterity, that is our children, we decided to give it to strangers. We have spit on the graves of our fathers.
It is wild to me to try and be claiming you're a Christian preacher and being this xenophobic and turning away people who want help, who want to be part of your community, and you're like, no, you're a little too different than me, is so antithetical to, like, the messaging of Jesus. It's wild.
Broken the fifth commandment. Our fathers, read the founders and their writings. They bled out and died and sacrificed. They didn't do it for India. And that doesn't mean they hated India, but they did it for us and our posterity. And for you, the children of your fathers who died for you as their children, to say, Dad died for me and the kids, and we're going to take it and give it to strangers. That is dishonoring Dad. That is a breaking of the fifth commandment. And you have to be able to talk about that.
What a strange framing. He's trying to say that if you aren't a racist shitbag that wants to deport 20 million people, you're dishonoring your parents. That's a really roundabout way to try and make your immoral shit try and seem moral. That's an incredible stretch, even by evangelical standards.
Without being called a racist.
Don't be racist? Like, you're literally being fucking racist. What do you mean? I keep being racist and doing racist shit. Why do people keep calling me racist?
It would probably be better for us because 4 years of Kamala would absolutely radicalize the masses. Because imagine, she didn't win a single primary, didn't win a single vote. Her ascendancy was total BS. If she wins, it'll be by a hair. Nobody will think it's legitimate. Everyone will think Trump got cheated.
Interesting that he's using the term everyone here. A lot of Republicans, but they've already given up living in reality, so who cares what they think?
And she'll be there for 4 years as an idiot. She's going to inherit a recession, a war with Iran. She will have to give up Ukraine and lose that war to Russia. And all of that is going to go on while she's a total idiot, can't answer questions. The pressure is going to get to her. She'll be a black woman. There'll be so much anger, and if she wins, don't get me wrong, if she wins, it'll be a disaster for the country. But think about all the anger that will be incubated. Think about how anger and rage and disillusionment and dissatisfaction will be incubated. 4 years. It'll be like another Obama. It'll be like another Obama. She'll be in there laughing it up, cackling, laughing it up, with her feet up on the desk. Black woman telling white people how she hates them. Economy's gonna crash. War with Iran. Imagine the interviews, the speeches. Imagine the anger. In 2028, we're going to get Hitler. Like in 2028, if we get 4 years of Kamala, in 2028, you're going to get an American fascist. People go, you can't vote for Kamala. She's going to be a communist. It's like, and I hope she is, and I hope she does. Because 4 years of that, think about it. 8 years of Obama gave us Trump. 8 years of Obama, and Obama was likable. He was arrogant. But he had his moments. There's a reason that
I'm sorry, the Trump supporter is calling Obama arrogant? That's just racist. Like, obviously we know Nick Fuentes is a neo-Nazi, and like he's literally just saying that Kamala's a black woman, therefore she'll do a bad job. We know he's racist, but holy shit, even in ways I think he doesn't acknowledge, if he thinks that Obama is full of himself but doesn't think Trump is, his perception is so borked. Fenekagami says, I honestly think MAGA is going to radicalize a lot of people to the left. Seriously, for one, people are sick of their hate. People are starting to take the opposite out of spite. Plus, it's obvious how little seriousness these people deserve. Trump's McDonald's stunt was such an obvious insult to everyone's intelligence, but MAGA ate it up like pigs at a trough. I hope you're right. I don't know if I believe it.
he was able to win like he did.
Oh, sorry, Gitara. Gitara said... stranger, buddy, you pay taxes. Your money already goes to strangers. And when you die, your great-grandchildren, who won't even know your name in all likelihood, will be strangers and have your stuff. Let's not even get started on their children, should they choose to have any.
And he had his own very...
Oh, and then Gratz with 27 months said, on today's Chud stream, daddy issues, hooray. That sub-baby's name is going to be Nick Fuentes' deep-seated insecurities.
Conspicuous ascendancy. So, not my cup of...
When did the last Republican actually win a popular vote in the presidential election? 2004. 20 years ago.
But people do like him. You can kind of get it. He was a good politician. And it gave us Trump. Obama didn't even have the recession. He didn't do a good job with it, but Bush had the recession. Bush had the war. Obama didn't have a major war. Obama didn't have... I mean, the economy was bad under him, but if we had 4 years of her with a recession, with 2 wars at once, and...
Saying the economy was bad under Obama is a fucking wild statement. At the beginning, the 2008 financial crisis that was inherited, yes, but once we started to recover from that, the market, growth over that period, which is the kind of thing Republicans generally care about, was, crazy. What are you talking about?
A defeat with Russia? Man, someone will emerge. It's going to be unbelievable, dude. Alex Jones will be the president. After 4 years of all that, David Duke is going to be president.
There is truth to what he says in that, unfortunately, Republicans freaked the fuck out with 8 years of Obama. Wasn't Obama's fault, not that I agree with everything Obama ever did or said, but they, for the most part, hated him because of what he represented, which was a successful black man that had the most powerful office in the world. And that broke so many racist brains. And it did, I think, end up leading to Donald Trump. Not due to Obama's fault, literally just because there were a lot of racist identity voters who got pissed off and felt slighted by that. So I imagine if Kamala wins, there's going to be an even bigger backlash of racist and sexist rhetoric regarding this. It's going to get fucking bad. Don't get me wrong, better than Trump being in office, and it's something that's not fun, but it is something we're going to have to deal with. Not going to be great. All right, let's get into the Jordan Peterson video. in which he decides that Trump is like a superhero. I don't know how far into this we're gonna get, because it's an hour-long video, and I really hate Jordan Peterson, but we'll give it a shot. The Trump X-Men team.
I suppose I have had the same problems with once and maybe again President Donald J. Trump that are shared by many. It wasn't obvious to me at all that his first shot at the leadership of the world's most powerful country was anything other than a brilliant and unorthodox marketing scheme.
HBaird with 40 bits says, the whole Trump had no new wars talking point is so weird. He escalated Yemen and Syria, tried starting a war with Iran at the beginning of 2020, which both sides backed down from. He also negotiated the deal with the Taliban to leave Afghanistan, saying that counts as no new wars, makes Biden look even better than Trump.
Albeit one that succeeded beyond the wildest of imaginings.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
I knew him only at that point as a self-promoting, bombastic, quintessentially American-type celebrity, reminiscent, in my imagination, of Colonel Tom Parker, the morally ambivalent, although indubitably successful promoter of Elvis Presley.
He killed Elvis through his treatment of him. Fun fact.
However, Trump made a name for himself in the difficult business of construction, where, particularly in cities such as New York and Chicago, all manner of...
Trump made most of his money by licensing, and we're not even talking about, obviously he inherited his money, but once he actually did make money, it wasn't from building projects, it was licensing his name to other companies, because he had become synonymous with the idea of wealth.
...of corruption and trouble had to be managed. A challenging matter to keep the projects going on time and within budget. Anyone who's ever undertaken a renovation of any magnitude knows how badly such things can spiral out of control without diligent devotion of time and attention.
Oh, this is like hagiography material. This is going to be an hour of him just slobbing on Donald's knob. This is going to be insufferable.
He managed, while doing so, to make himself quite famous, another feat that is by no means as simple as those who have never done it might imagine.
Somebody who was at the Michael Jackson concert in New York said, when you were seated, you got the loudest applause. People stood up and roared and cheered.
So maybe there was something to him on the diligence, attention, and negotiation front that belied his mere success as a celebrity. After that, of course, he was co-producer and host of the reality shows The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice. These were highly successful, and for a long time, particularly by legacy media TV standards, running more than a decade from 2004 to 2015. He's also the author of 19 books, collaborating with various ghostwriters.
There we go. Okay, I was wondering if he was going to bring up the ghostwriter thing. I don't believe Donald Trump sat down and wrote a single sentence for any of his books. I'm sure he had discussions with the ghostwriters about whatever the broad topics of the books would be. I don't think he wrote any of them.
And has been involved in a true variety of other business enterprises.
I did, Harold Elbleman. Thank you so much.
History of entrepreneurial activity, combined with his successful bids for attention, speaks to two of President Trump's cardinal personality features. He is extremely extroverted, that is, both assertive and enthusiastic, although more particularly the former rather than the latter, and also at least relatively high in trait openness, which is the single best predictor of entrepreneurial/creative activity and prowess after general intelligence. This makes him high in the personality meta trait of plasticity, which is characterized primarily by the capacity to change, grow, and transform.
You don't think that that's a good assessment, Jordan? Trump himself said that he couldn't really grow and he's basically the same person he was at like 3 years old. I don't know how you can look at Donald Trump and the things he's done and attribute his personality as being able to transform and change? Oh, God.
Something quite evident in the case of Trump, who is a very dynamic individual indeed, particularly...
How much money does this guy get from Russia? I hate to bring that up because it's like a point that it's like it doesn't even really matter if it's like Russian propaganda. But this is just like ridiculous jerking him off. Like this is a self-parody. Moira Soma says, I'm Norwegian and I don't understand it. The more senile, insane, rambling, and unable to finish sentences Trump gets, the more he soars in the polls. I feel like I want to scratch myself inside my head. It's driving me nuts because I don't understand. I just don't understand. Is it any more understandable for you who live there? It is to me, but I grew up with like a narcissistic father who's a lifetime Republican. So I know the kind of people Trump appeals to, not the kind of people you'll voluntarily spend time with. Let me tell you that much, and there's a lot of them out there.
Given his age, many people,
especially in rural areas,
have been set in concrete with regard to their essential being by the time they're 30, not Trump. He reinvents himself constantly.
Does he?
And with a high degree of continual success.
Reinventing yourself is a fun way to say lies to people. H-Bird says, Peterson's brain is a fucking wreck. He seems like he's always scared and angry. Remember that time he wrote about going down on his grandma, then vocalized it in his audiobook, and when he tweeted milking fetish porn as if it was real government program? It looks like every second in his head since the benzos is torture, and I love that for him.
That can happen by chance once, perhaps twice, but if it is sustained across many decades, there is something substantive and real at work.
Thank you for voting for Harris, 98274973973, 39725847389.
Work.
How do you remember that?
I also followed the Donald with great amusement on Twitter.
I followed the Donald with great amusement on Twitter. H-Baird says, The Apprentice was kind of interesting in that it showed that completely useless people could get really far in business just by playing people off each other and making sure you always have someone to blame. Part of the reason they switched to Celebrity Apprentice is because the last episode would always be boring because it was always one talented person versus someone who played the game and had no talent.
During his presidential...
I've never seen The Apprentice. It never was interesting to me.
...run and afterward, when he was in office, before he was turfed so scandalously by the progressive good thinkers who infested the platform, and who must be commended on their arrogance, presumption, and sheer gall. The man has a devastating...
I'm sorry, Jordan Peterson talks like he's a villain in a video game. I know this has been pointed out by other people, but it really is incredible the pomposity with which he is able to, like, he says the simplest thing, but he uses big words. I don't know if it's because he thinks it makes him sound smart, or if he thinks every single thing he ever says requires, like, insane gravitas, but he speaks like a melodramatic film character.
Underappreciated, at least by the legacy leaders of opinion, sense of humor, although it is also somewhat ruthless. I own a very comical book, The Collected Poems of Donald J. Trump, available for purchase at the Daily Wire website by...
Little plug right there.
By the way, which compiles his most memorable tweets and declarations from 2009 to 2019 into beautiful library edition hardback form. It is a ridiculously funny tome. I believe that deeper consideration of this proclivity for the viciously funny is also useful in shedding more general light on Trump's admittedly complex personality.
It's not that complex.
First, we should fairly note that dictatorial types, a category which his enemies insist he falls into, are generally not known for their sense of humor. People were imprisoned.
I would argue Trump isn't either. Trump's idea of a joke is just insulting someone. Like, that's not funny, it's vindictive. I don't think Trump is funny. I think he's a bully. Like, that's not the same thing. him trying to mock someone and laughing at them is not being funny. It's being a bully. That's not humor. That's not a constructed joke.
In the Stalinist Soviet Union for being the first to stop applauding after a speech by the great leader. Criticism was absolutely out of the question, and certainly not forthcoming from the top. I've also never encountered a...
Also, narcissists and sociopaths are known for, like, being very charismatic, so the idea that they can't joke, I just outright deny. I don't think that's real.
...compendium of the witty and amusing...
They might not have a good sense of humor about themselves, because that would require introspection and to be able to kind of understand your own faults and make fun of them. But certainly, I don't think that it's impossible for narcissistic people to be funny. That's weird.
Things said by Adolf Hitler or Fidel Castro or Chairman Mao. Trump does have a surprisingly thin skin in some settings, but he can take a joke as well as tell one. He was roasted on Comedy Central in 2011, bandied back and forth self-deprecatingly several times with David Letterman. He even made a joke about getting wood during his presidential debate with Joe Biden.
And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won.
I don't think he could help himself.
Wait, does he think that was a joke? What?
Wood that
with Joe Biden.
And, you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health.
That's not a joke. That wasn't a joke. That's just him doing his normal talking like a weird guy. That wasn't an intentional joke. What in the fuck?
I don't think he could help himself.
I don't think he could help himself. That wasn't even a joke.
And
he thinks it was a dick joke, apparently. He thinks Donald Trump told a dick joke at a debate. Penakagami says, thank you, Hannah. Not enough people point out how obvious Jordan's attempts to sound smart with his says with 20 syllables what I can say with 5 syllables bit. By the way, Jordan, what do you mean by personality? Personality is a complicated psychological concept, so much so, a running theory is that your core personality never changes, only the outward expression of that core personality.
I truly like that. He's rough in his jokes, but no more, say, than Bill Burr.
You can't hit women. You can't. You honestly cannot. You ever see how they fall?
The difference is Bill Burr can be funny and actually knows how to tell jokes. Trump does not. He can be funny unintentionally, but that's, again, not being funny. It's being buffoonish.
They fall like toddlers, you know?
And is it...
You didn't Photoshop this and it's a Ben Shapiro tweet, I guess? Wants to load. Let's see, someone says, I agree there's a disconnect, and I'm personally very concerned about crimes like the one you describe. I just feel like it's a far bigger deal that one of the candidates wants to emulate Hitler. Shapiro says, please list explicitly the things Donald Trump will do that emulate Hitler, not dumb crap, he says. Stuff he will actually... He literally said he wanted Hitler's generals! What?
Not the case that a certain degree...
Oh, Gitara says, gonna stop you right there, Jordan. Trump absolutely cannot stand criticism. I didn't forget that he asked his staff if it was possible for the president to eliminate talk show hosts that don't like him and make jokes at his expense. He's literally planning on punishing the states who don't vote for him this time if he wins. For the love of Paul, vote please.
If harshness is necessary for serious comedy, understanding and appreciating this helps us in comprehending one of Trump's more remarkable features, his serious attractiveness to the working class. This is something particularly made evident in his ability to easily banter with soldiers and policemen, a rare trait among politicians, often made nervous by the necessity of interacting with real people with dangerous and difficult jobs. Let us not forget, as well, that the humor characteristic of working class men and women also tends toward the rough more deeply. This capacity to relate, the variability that is so often derided as an appeal to a hypothetically dangerous populism, speaks to me of the paradoxical presence in Trump's character of a substantive degree of agreeableness, the personality trait most associated with empathy for other people.
Oh no, he's gonna say Trump is the most empathetic man ever. He cares so deeply.
And one that seriously mitigates against the more pathological elements of the narcissism that can be associated with extreme extroversion. How can this be, given his rough and sometimes even bullying humor?
What stupid thing is he gonna say here to justify why does Donald Trump seem so unempathetic, even though he's trying to paint him as empathetic? What ridiculous justification will he have? Streaming at the Radio says Peterson has a really silly rich man's idea of the working man. He does, doesn't he? Cops and soldiers, you know, typical blue-collar work. Benekagami says, everyone be grateful that I'm still working, otherwise I would interrupt constantly because as a psych major, Jordan bugs in a way Tasha's borders on hyperfixation.
Well, agreeableness subdivides into the aspects of politeness and compassion. Although they tend to co-vary, else would not unite to produce the trait, people can somewhat rarely be high in one and low in the other. This makes them somewhat harder persons to understand, but is something that is nonetheless possible. I believe that Donald J. is one of those people. He is certainly not polite. He knows how to behave, so is not merely unsocialized or accidentally gauche, but he frequently chooses not to. This is part of what makes him so funny. What
the fuck, man? Peoplord says, is anyone else happy that FBI and NSA can't hear the inside thoughts that they have when thinking about Trump and the... I can't read that.
Aforementioned Bill Burr.
That's, like, questionable to even type. I get the joke you're making, but don't make it in chat.
Burr is not polite. Louis C.K. is not polite.
That's the person you came up with? There are other things wrong with Louis C.K., fun fact.
Tony Hinchcliffe of current Kill Tony fame is not polite. Many comical people will say anything that comes into their mind, no matter what, if it is either true or funny or optimally both. Trump definitely falls into this camp.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Like, does he understand that that's not funny? It's vindictive. Like, you can think something vindictive is funny, but that's not a joke. Like, he's genuinely lashing out there because he's upset that he's being insulted. And you're like, haha, he's so funny. Like, he's not telling a joke. He's mad and lashing out at someone who he does not like. Like, a joke is a joke. That wasn't a joke. That was a pointed attack because he's mad.
It is clear from the personality and psychopathology literature that people tilt towards narcissism when they are extroverted and disagreeable. Trump is indisputably extroverted, and extremely so. He's also definitely low in politeness, but he simply would not be able to make contact with the so-called ordinary people that love him if he did not care deep in the blackness of his heart.
Why? What are you talking about? Why? People who are, like, narcissistic make connections all the time. It's one of their skills. That's such a batshit nonsense thing to say. Narcissistic people are often very good at cultivating relationships with other people. Those relationships might be superficial, but they're very good at those superficial relationships, like the kind of superficial interaction you might have on the campaign trail, for instance. It doesn't require a depth of character because you see each person for a minute or two, maybe 5-10 minutes tops before you move on to the next place. What is he talking about?
I have a suspicion that his very impoliteness is at least in part a mask worn to shield him from the pain that such caring can produce.
Trump cares so much and so deeply, that's what makes him act like a cold, uncaring psychopath. That makes total sense. He just cares so much for the common man that he comes off as callous. Oh my fucking God. Did RT produce this video? Chromecaster, thanks for following.
This would make Trump a man whose gruffness is there to shield himself from the public exposure of his tender heart. There are many...
The public exposure of his tender heart! Brazil. Oh, this is going great. Peeplord says, it truly is amazing that Jordan can talk for so long despite having Trump's and his own dick in his mouth.
Men who are like that. Now, I don't know Trump, except from a distance. But I know many people who do. All of them have spoken to me of his hospitable nature in private and of his proclivity to go out of his way for the people around him. This group of witnesses to his character includes people who are seriously not aligned with him politically, by the way. It is also by no means obvious that Trump kisses up and kicks down. That tendency is a very damning sign indeed, particularly in someone who has genuine power and is simply not reported of Trump. This is something that appears to stand in marked comparison to Kamala Harris, who is notoriously unpopular among her staff, current and former, and for precise...
I'm sorry. First of all, these are right-wing magazines he's looking at, or papers, so I don't know about the veracity of the claims. But you can literally go look at all the former people that worked for Trump that have nothing but bad things to say about him. What are you talking about? Vitara says, this reminds me of when Don Jr. was like, my dad is the most generous and caring person in the world, and he got hit with, generous? Dude, your dad didn't even care enough to give you your own name.
Precisely that reason. Two personality traits remain to assess with regard to the former president. That of neuroticism, the tendency to experience negative emotion, and conscientiousness, the tendency to work hard and diligently and to formulate and keep verbal contracts. Neuroticism subdivides into withdrawal, a depression-like proclivity to shrink, avoid, and freeze in the face of challenge. And volatility, a tendency towards what can be an aggressive touchiness. Trump appears to me to be someone who is very difficult to stop. Thus, my suspicion is that he is very low in withdrawal.
Real quick, hydrate and a Black's Law Dictionary. Jay's a proxy. You want me to look up denial? Can do. Brain-injured gamer with 100 bits says, I tend to care too much, sometimes to my own detriment. As a result, I sometimes have to force myself to say no. Trump never helps anyone.
What may perhaps add to the paradox of his personality, however, is a higher level of volatility. People can and do get under his skin, as Kamala Harris did so effectively in her debate with him.
In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out.
He gets reactive, but he won't quit. And he can handle high levels of pressure on a continual basis. His spontaneous response to being nearly assassinated provided clear and stellar evidence of that.
It's a good propaganda moment. It's a really bad moment if you don't want to get your head blown off. Toreador says, bro is a mirror universe Mr. Rogers. Don't do Fred dirty like that. Denial says, the definition for denial is a traverse in the pleading of one party of an allegation of fact set up by the other. A defense under rule of civil procedure, denials must be specific and directed at the particular allegations converted. Denials may be made in part or in whole, but in the main should be specific and fairly meet the substance of the avertments denied.
What about conscientiousness? Well, Trump famously does not drink or use recreational drugs. So he prioritizes his sobriety and alertness over the transient pleasures of substance use.
I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? Right. It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink.
I also cannot see how he could juggle all the activities that he has been involved in, even the ghostwriting aided production of 19 books, not a trivial accomplishment.
Do you know what ghostwriting is? Like, that's... Like, if you have money, anyone can ghostwrite a book, or anyone can get a ghostwriter to write a book for them if they have money.
The least of all his other businesses and projects, without a true work ethic. He's up at 5:30 a.m., a sign of the so-called morningness, the preference for early rather than late hours.
I don't think that that's a fair thing to judge based on someone his age, because people as they get older tend to wake up earlier anyway. My grandparents did that, started waking up at like 4 and 5 in the morning. Putting it out there. I don't think that's about his personality. I think that's an age thing. Benekagami says, who gave Jordan a PhD in psychology? Like, he was never good at psychology, but this is so comically bad, I just can't. I have to stop myself. Everyone here knows he's wrong, but my education is just so offended. Is this being triggered? Okay, back to work. Ifazoo with 100 bits says, I'd rather an alcoholic a president than a convicted felon and a probable rapist. Agree. Toreador says, is this a deleted scene from Idiocracy we've never seen? Almost on a hype train.
Hours, which is associated temperamentally with both agreeableness and conscientiousness. Night owls tend as well to be more neurotic and to display more symptoms of personality disorder. Trump seems to be active and working, as well as gathering information about the state of things from TV, until about
That's such an interesting way to try and frame him not working, but watching Fox News all day as doing a job. Like, there's nothing you as the president could learn from the television that you couldn't get better information on from the intelligent apparatus of the United States government. Like, there's nothing you could... If anything, TV is going to make you less informed because you have more up-to-date information based on, like, actual intelligence agencies working to learn things. And you think it's a good idea for the president to fucking base their beliefs off what's going on TV? That's so frustrating. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 20 tier 1 subs. Much appreciated. We're only 49 subs away from this month's sub goal. Thank you so much, Nemesaur. 84% to level 5 on a hype train.
Midnight each day. That's a long day of movement. He has a reputation for being a veritable whirlwind of activity in general. A description I find credible given his strenuous campaign schedule, high openness and extroversion, and early morning preference, all despite his relatively advanced age.
Relatively advanced age. He's 80. He's advanced in age. You can just say he's old.
Side. I suspect Trump is more interested in ideas than aesthetics.
What ideas?
That is two aspects into which...
Benekagami says, to be fair, by watching news, it could help you be more in touch with voters because you're sharing experiences with them. That feels wildly not real. Like, that, I can't agree with that statement. Maybe if you were, like, in touch with certain cultural things, not watching Fox News. Avila, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs.
Which openness differentiates. He's not an intellectual, nor an artist, so I wouldn't place him in the upper echelons of the distribution of this trait. But no one average or below devotes any attention, for example, to writing books. And
he didn't write books. He paid people to write books for him. He didn't write books.
The number of books the typical person has written is 0.
And that's the number of books that Donald Trump has written. He paid people to write books for him. That's what a ghostwriter is. 56% to level 6 on the hype train.
The diversity of his career is another testament to his trait openness. Trump is clearly a serial entrepreneur type, and he's also very interested in the entertainment world. For better or worse, that gives him commonality with those who inhabit the world of the arts, and is part of what makes him a very strange Republican indeed. So Why does Trump set so many people on edge? To recapitulate, he is exceptionally extroverted, particularly with regard to the aspect of assertiveness. He's also low in politeness.
I like that, like, him lying hasn't come up either, even though that's one of his biggest traits, is that he lies constantly. It's interesting.
Well, that combination has some overlap with narcissism. Not surprising in a figure who has been in the spotlight and strived to be for so many years.
H-Baird with 40 bits says, what are the odds that Trump actually read any of the books he had ghostwritten? Maybe like the first one. Definitely not after that, I don't think, though.
However,
and it was probably an audiobook. Did he read the audiobook for his, like, Art of the Deal book? He had to read it if he did.
He is genuinely compassionate, really quite surprisingly so.
You've not given anything to justify that statement. You're just saying he's very compassionate. Why? He's never done anything compassionate. What are you talking about?
And appears on the basis of his behavior to be relatively, or perhaps even markedly, conscientious. The presence of those aspects and traits mitigates against what could otherwise be the dangers associated with narcissism. We might also spend some time in regard to Trump's personality, considering his family and the evidence for the Donald's fundamental reliability and perhaps even goodness that its high level of function indicates. The Trump children are a remarkably scandal-free and stable bunch, certainly by the standards set by, say, Hunter Biden.
It's self-parody. It's self-fucking-parody.
Barron seems to genuinely admire his father. Donald Jr. has many of the same personality traits.
We've seen Don Jr. on camera high on cocaine. At least Hunter took the pictures in private.
Traits of his father, for better or worse. But he has also remained free of the taint of narcissistic privilege and power. Jared Kushner.
You pulled up the free sample of the Art of the Deal audiobook. Trump only reads the intro. Okay, maybe he hasn't read it at all then.
Married into the family, but has certainly done it credit, not least on the Abraham Accord front. Trump's beautiful and elegant wife, Melania, keeps her own counsel and is admirable in
Are we even counting Melania as part of his family anymore? Because it doesn't feel like she considers herself part of his family. When's the last time we've seen them together? I'm not joking. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen them next to each other. The RNC? Was she at the RNC?
So doing.
Found a map of Jordan's mind. God. Yeah, I've seen this. It's an image generated that's like nonsense. This is 5 years ago. This is actually before image generation was like a big thing. I remember seeing that 5 years ago and being like, wow, that's crazy.
She does not
30 seconds on the hype train.
Appear to think that she could or should run the country merely because she's married to the man who does, in marked contrast, say, to Hillary Clinton. This familial honesty and reliability...
I don't think Hillary Clinton was claiming she was able to be the president because she was a president's wife. She was also, I believe, a senator at some point. She was the Secretary of State for years. Just wild that you would claim she was claiming she was qualified because of her husband.
Is particular.
Like, you don't have to like Hillary Clinton. I don't like Hillary Clinton. But, like, that's really fucked up that you said that as if that's her basis for running when it wasn't.
Particularly telling. In the case of the Trump
Thank you for the hype train, everyone.
Family, given that the almost universally Democrat-biased legacy media and its propagandistic agents,
as opposed to Jordan here, and he's not doing anything propagandistic. He's just talking about what a humble, kind, empathetic man Donald Trump is.
Would be thrilled to trumpet any possible misstep on behalf of those near the former president to the skies. Where there is smoke, there is fire, or so goes the cliche. This is sometimes, but not always, true. The converse may be something more reliable. Where there is absolutely no smoke, even though many hawk-eyed observers are not only watching, but wishing for it to appear, there is perhaps truly no fire.
Chitara, sorry, I've been missing a lot of bits today. Says, hi, professional artist, art teacher, and art therapist in training here. I can tell you from firsthand experience with many colleagues that he is not in touch with or really welcome in the US art world, especially since Republicans and Chud tend to spew vitriol about artists for supposedly not exclusively making classical art anymore. Even though we do, it's just not everyone commissions that kind of stuff these days.
Zero scandal within the Trump family is reminiscent, for me, of the zero wars of the Trump presidency.
So tired. So tired of these bullshit talking points. Harold Elbelman with the 25 stream streak says, I don't have anything to say about the 25, but in 92, the Clintons were sold as a 2-for-1 presidency since she was the first lawyer with political potential first lady. That's funny.
It's something easy to take for granted, given its too easily invisible non-existence, as it's hard to be grateful for a problem you just don't have. But it is a relief, and another indication that the bombastic Donald J. has at least properly ruled his own roost. This is also no easy matter, as we have seen in the appalling family scandals of the Biden White House.
Literally, his son did, like, cocaine. I get it. The drug use ain't great. I'm glad he got help.
And is another fact mitigating against the claim that President Trump is a danger on the temperamental front.
All right. I think that's all I can do at Jordan today because, hoo boy, he is hard to listen to. And then we have an interesting video from Vic Berger to take a look at. I have to use the bathroom real quick, though. So while I do that, Cher will tell you about, Cher will tell you about Dragon's Lair 2, Time Warp. Be right back. I wonder how long it would take for me to show you every one of my Blu-rays via the chair bit when I go up and use the bathroom. Long time, I'd imagine. Okay, so this is a video. I don't know who's familiar with Vic Berger, but Vic Berger does really great edits. Let me find his channel. He's the guy that did the Baker Bucket video, for instance. Where he just shows Jim Baker putting that slop bucket together.
We could look back. 22 gallons. Upright. Here, John, you shovel it. Okay, shovel it back over there. It looks like a snow pile in there. Boy, look at.
Anyway, so he's incredible. Here's a link to his channel if you'd like it. He recently worked with Chapo Trap House in order to put something together about Trump at Mar-a-Lago. This is called The Phantom of Mar-a-Lago. Let's enjoy.
Okay?
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Oh, Peeplord said, Chair, I get what you're saying about Time Warp, but what does that have to do with you voting for RFK? Oh no. Do I have to beat Chair again?
My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote. To ensure the integrity of the vote. Demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of justice. It's defiled, right? See, I can't see it very well. Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to do this. Let's go. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. You do not represent our country.
Oh, that was some of the shit, I think, that was smeared.
You do not.
Yeah, look at that yummy, yummy shit smear.
Represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election. A new administration will be inaugurated. We must get on with the business of America. Go home. You have to go home now. I'll be home in a little while.
Benikagami with 40 bits says, to explain my news point earlier, media is both a product and molder of our culture and people's understanding of our culture, and the news is how many people become familiar with the world. A politician needs to be familiar with these things to understand the wants of their constituents, along with the intelligence apparatus. It's far from the best way, obviously. The best way is by interacting with them, but politicians are so busy and there's so many people that could be difficult. I don't know, especially because he's just watching Fox News and shit. Deep Lord says, can't wait for Pissmas. Me too. I genuinely, that's not going to be fun. Pretending to enjoy the pee drinking videos is really taking a toll.
Joe Biden did it.
Bam, bam, bam.
What's the word? Great again.
There's a very, very pungent smell of marijuana here. See, it's sort of a street fair atmosphere out here. People are popping champagne bottles.
See, chat, don't you want this again when we can hopefully say goodbye for Trump for good? Even if he tried to run in 2028, he's so old now, he might not make it.
Wearing masks and then drinking out of the same bottle.
My fellow Americans, our long national nightmare is over.
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 He says thank you. We could not be happier. Goodness won! That's who won! Goodness, not Biden! Goodness! Kamala Harris.
These people better go fucking vote again.
It's over! Best day of my life! Best day of my life! Best day of the year!
I just hope that the door doesn't hit you on the way out, Mr. Trump!
Fuck Trump. Indeed, baby.
Dan, what are your thoughts? It's, well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters.
I sat down and just started crying with relief. And Evie said, you never have to talk about him again.
Being a good person matters.
And then I cried with joy.
Goodbye to you. Goodbye to you. Trump's time now. Here is done. I hope he takes his sons and
back to the shadow domain.
We don't have to suffer through another 4 years of Donald Trump.
We will never have to listen to Donald Trump again.
We can't.
Did people not think in 2020 that he was going to run again? I feel like I remember thinking, fuck, he's going to run again in 4 years.
Way to be boring.
Maybe I'm wrong.
have a special treat for you. We have Leah Danielle, famed opera singer, singing one of your favorite tunes, right? Fan of the opera, right?
Oh no.
And Putin's turn from you, they glance behind.
Off the pool deck, back up.
Did you just wander around Mar-a-Lago all day and have people clap at him? H-Bird says, I think part of the bizarre hate everyone has for Biden is disappointment that Trump didn't go away.
The president of America.
Off the pool deck, man.
Jason Proxy says, I can't underscore this enough. Trump has said the first person he'll nominate to SCOTUS is Cannon, and Alito has said he'll retire January 21st if Trump wins. Yeah, Cannon is the one that is literally, like, in Trump's pocket and is doing whatever he wants in that documents case, which is being, appealed because of how weird she's being. Ashrind, thanks for gifting a sub.
Back in 1927, Marjorie Merriweather Post, one of the richest and most famous women of the day, built a house in Palm Beach, Florida. It has 118 rooms, half of them bedrooms, 33 bathrooms, a theater, and just in case, 3 bomb shelters. During the 70s, the federal government held it as a presidential retreat, but gave it back because it couldn't afford the $1 million a year upkeep. Well, the house is Mar-a-Lago. Now, if the government couldn't afford it, you might wonder who could. Meet Donald Trump, real estate man and multi-millionaire.
This was one of the great treasures of the world. It's considered the #1 home far and away in America because she created a magical house. It's a fantasy house. If you notice, we have Mrs. Post's picture.
So people who are somewhat concerned that they'll start having tour buses come through here, Trump will turn this into a real tourist attraction. You can rest their fears.
I can rest their fears. I mean, I have no intention of doing anything like that.
You're not going to do anything?
No.
No personal Trump touches here?
No. Believe it or not, no.
The hamburger has his fucking face on the bun? Jesus Christ. He invented his own little narcissist land. That's not good. Oh my god, what the fuck? It's a tacky geometric art piece of Donald Trump's head? Trump shoes. Hat. Oh.
And this is a perilous moment, not only in America's future, but in human history.
Oh my god, former General Michael Flynn was dressed in a Revolutionary War outfit, and holy shit, it's a Ninja Turtle! Is that Vanilla Ice? Did Vanilla Ice perform the ninja rap at Mar-a-Lago? Disappointed in Mr. Ice.
it's a party for the president. The president would never do a party that wasn't the best.
Trump 2024. It's happening. There is nothing they can do to stop it. Remember that. And God bless President Trump.
Let's have a little music. Let's get into a party frame of mind. Let's have a little music.
Give us back our American dream. I can see it slipping away. They ignore our Constitution in our face every day. I can see our grandchildren, all the sadness in their eyes. We're not taking it anymore. We're tired of all of their lies. We're gonna make America great again. We're gonna take her back today. We're gonna wave the flag of victory. We're gonna make America great.
Oh, Mike Pillow.
We're gonna make America great again. We're gonna take her back today. We're gonna wave the flag of victory. We're gonna make America great. We're gonna make America great again. We're gonna take her back today. We're gonna wave the flag of victory. We're gonna make America great. We're gonna make.
This is special. I recognize you so well. Many members of Mar-a-Lago, which usually means one thing. It means that they're wealthy.
Let's have a little music.
Yeah, that was Kevin Sorbo.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm down here in Mar-a-Lago and I'm going to be interviewing our real President Donald J. Trump. This is very exciting for me. I've got a lot of questions I wrote that I don't believe he's been asked. Some of them I know he hasn't been asked, and I'm very excited to see that we can all share and hear some of the things that the questions that all of you out there wanted to hear when we asked you all what would you like to hear in this interview. And so is running the country. Was it what you expected it to be? Was it like when you were running your business?
Donald, when you talk about like power and stuff like that, what's more like powerful to you, being the president or being a multi-billionaire, like owning real estate?
I just want to know personally, as a dad, as a father, as a family man, how are you and the family doing? I mean, how are you and the family doing?
Everyone wants to hear, how are you doing?
Donald, what's your handicap right now in golf?
If you could use one club to play a round of golf, what club would that be?
My question for you, sir, is from where do you get your strength? Where do you draw your strength from?
Just all these dick-sucking interviews.
You get the emotional strength from.
And by the way, I do want to say, you look.
No wonder when people ask him actual questions, he says they're like nasty and like, this is the worst interview maybe I've ever had. Because when he's in the MAGA circles, they just like use the interviews as an opportunity to fillet him. This is absurd.
You look good. Looks great. You look great.
You're looking fit. You're fit. You're looking fit.
You look well.
I want to talk about your book, this new book, Letters to Trump.
Here's the book, Letters to Trump. Beautiful book.
Bookstores everywhere.
The letters are fascinating. Politicians, world leaders, and so forth.
Letters from Reagan, Kennedy.
And I have a letter from Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Overthought says, so much sucking that I swear I heard a certain set of drums playing.
I got to
No, I can't do it.
know Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I knew him before he got married, after he got married. He lived in Trump Tower with Sarah Brightman was his wife.
different than your relationship with your beautiful wife. They fought. Andrew Lloyd Webber writing me a letter. Donald, I'm opening a new musical. He writes me a letter. I'm opening up a new musical in New York. It's called Phantom of the Opera. We're having opening night. I look at this beautiful letter I get from Andrew Lloyd Webber, who was big before Phantom, but nothing like Phantom, and he did Jesus Christ.
It's a big edit of a bunch of awkward Trump things, Wampa.
Superstar, which was another great one. He did a lot of great things. Phantom was one of the greatest. I'm a big fan of Phantom. I mean, I have a letter from Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I didn't know Donald Trump was a fan of Phantom of the Opera. That's such a random, weird thing for him to be into. I guess he was in, like, New York in the 80s, so I could see how he could have, like, gotten swept up into sort of the Phantom fever. But I'm a little surprised.
This beautiful letter I get from Andrew Lloyd Webber writing me a letter. So he writes me a letter. I'm opening up a new musical. Andrew Lloyd Webber saying, I'd love you to come to Phantom of the Opera. Andrew Lloyd Webber writing me a letter. Andrew Lloyd Webber, he wrote me a letter, but it was an interesting letter because it's sort of like I'm opening a musical. He wrote me a letter, and it's Dear Donald, essentially saying, I'm opening a new musical in New York. It's called Phantom of the Opera. I think it might be good. Would you like to come? I said, yeah, I'd like to go. I'm opening up a musical called The Phantom of the Opera. And I said, oh, it's called Phantom of the Opera. We're having opening night in a month or whatever it was. And I'm saying to myself, all right, it's a musical. It's called Phantom of the Opera. A musical called Phantom of the Opera. Called Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. Phantom of the Opera.
I'm opening up a new musical.
How many times has he told this story?
Opening a show.
Like at least 3 or 4 different times based on the settings of these clips.
In a month or whatever it was, and I'd love you to go. Because he lived in the building at Trump Tower, he knew me a little bit. I think it might be good. Would you like to come? I said, yeah, I'd like to go. And it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I said, okay, I'll go. I say on the letter, okay, I'll go. I'd love you to go. And I say, okay. And anyway, we went. And I heard the music. I said, that's phenomenal. And then I went and I heard the sound. I said, that's unbelievable. You go there and it's opening night for one of the most successful plays, musicals ever. By the time we had intermission, it was like, I said, this thing is incredible. I go in and I see this music. I said, this thing is unbelievable. It didn't take long because the music is so good. The musical was like the Phantom of the Opera. And it was sort of amazing. And it opens with the chandelier and this, you've been there, right? With the gondolas and the candles and the whole thing coming out and the great music.
First time I saw it shocks you when the chandelier drops.
No, but the whole thing was
the whole
great.
magnificent.
It was a great, great musical. He said, but I'm opening a musical called Phantom of the Opera. And I'm saying to myself, all right, now, okay. We play a lot of that music. It's great. Everybody likes it. I'm a big fan of Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to return to Mar-a-Lago in just a moment. Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone, this is Valentina. Hello everyone, this is Valentina. Hello everyone, this is Valentina. Live from Palm Beach. Looking for the best, forget the rest. Check my website www.luxstylepb.com. Valentina have beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo. We have a Trump supporter here. Valentina have condo for $399,000. This is amazing castle, amazing Trump mansion. Valentina have condo totally renovated. So call me now, 561.
I don't think I remember them, Harold Elwin. It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Down. So anyway, Donald Trump is in a house. Security is great. Everything is perfect. Everything is great. Party is on all day, all night long. Everybody is going to Mar-a-Lago. Oh, Benedict, Salmone. I love this. Would like to have coffee, please, Giovanni. This is my lunch. And this is my dessert. This is a downtown. Happy birthday here in Mar-a-Lago. Party is on all day, all night long.
Sorry, boys.
Never give up.
Never give up, buddy.
Thank you for everything you do. Can I please shake your hand? Can I please?
You are the real president. We know you're the real president. I gave you Golan Heights. Thank you, Mr. President. We gave you Golan Heights. Thank you, Mr. President.
Trump 2020, Trump 2024. Oh yeah.
Take care. We love you. We love you. We love you. Take care.
Oh, wide. No.
The lounges open up for morning cocktails, which I'm sure is going to be welcome news for many of you. And also red carpet poolside photos can be taken place.
Your biggest supporter right next to you there.
Back to the fabulous songs.
I don't feel bad for Trump because, you know, Donald Trump. But what an annoying life to have to live in a place where people are constantly, like, every 5 minutes at minimum asking to take a picture with you. You know how annoying that would be? To just constantly be walking around your fucking house and people being like, you want a selfie? No, get out of my house! And it's his fault for living at a club, but yeah. Big hell.
We'll support you, no matter what.
Please move this way. Please back up. Please take 2 steps back. Keep backing up, people.
Shopping with Donnie. I like this one. Валя, не шути.
I've been here since 2015, Trump. Better pay attention.
Ma'am?
Hold right here, please.
He's wearing double MAGA hats?
Yes. 1 second.
I called him Daddy Trump.
Good job, man! Take a step back. Take a step back. I got it. Donald.
You are in our prayers.
Donald's shopping for woman's bag, going his wife.
Trump, me too. Mr. President, we love you. Could you give a shout to my brother real quick?
Yes.
Save our country.
He's lost a lot of weight, but still, he looks good.
This year, the Chinese government confiscated family pets and caged them. Back meat trucks heading into the slaughterhouse.
You know, I walked in yesterday and I saw a group, and it was a different group. It was a different group. They said, could you come yesterday? Could you also come twice today?
I was after Iraq, but you were there. That's not the end. You need to stop right here.
I did, Avila. I did the Tucker Carlson daddy spank video, unfortunately.
We need to stop right here. Folks, you need to stop right here.
Take a step back.
It used to be fun being here.
So it begins. If you're in the sound of my voice,
We are here at Mar-a-Lago on the Bingham Bridge, standing up to represent our great president, Donald J. Trump.
I refuse to surrender on my knees. I will die on my feet for that man.
He protects us, he protects America, and...
Hold that up.
Open it up.
That poor fucking kid.
Yes. I've been here, let's see, Saturday, Sunday, and last night I was here too. A bunch of us, we each slept in our cars. We stayed all night.
Being in a cult of personality like this must be so embarrassing and so exhausting. Like, how do you have this much energy for any human being that you don't even fucking know personally? This is wild. It'll be embarrassing in a couple decades. It's embarrassing now. They just don't know it. Says our lizard queen.
Will be bankruptcy of the entire system. Murders are up massively. Our cities are crime-ridden nests. We're very close to World War III, and I've predicted just about everything right. Terrific inflation, massive crime, bankruptcy of the entire system.
We have to contain Florida so it doesn't spread any further. I think this is an existential threat to the planet.
Could tell you stories that you're not going to want to hear. Communist price controls on food.
Oh, I don't think that chocolate fountain's working. Finikagami says, always remember, elections are about choosing your enemies, not picking your heroes.
Shortages of rationing. The restaurant industry will be obliterated. Our country will go down the tubes. It's going to blow up and fail. It will be crime, chaos, and death all across our country. You go out for a loaf of bread, you end up getting shot. Let's get that music going, come on. Welcome to 1929. Do you know what 1929 was? You don't want to know. No. You will have a 1929 style depression. Enjoy it. A nightmare of murder and crime. A nightmare of murder and crime. And it is a nightmare. It's a bloodbath.
Keep Lord with a link. God, what is this? America's worst nightmare, Florida. Yeah, nah. We'd be fucked. We'd be fucked. We might already be fucked, and there's one Florida.
Carnage and chaos.
This is almost done, by the way.
Killing from all over the world. A dangerous world of chaos, death, and destruction. Vicious monsters are ready to do massive damage all over your community. Rape, maim, and murder. Illegal alien criminals crawling through your windows and ransacking your drawers. You know, we have an enemy from the outside, and we have an enemy from within.
The president sent me over to throw out some hats. There you go. Just get off the road a little bit.
frankly, the enemy from within is more dangerous. Radical thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country. People would ask me, who's our biggest enemy? Is it China? Could it be Russia? Could it be North Korea? No, no, no. It's these sick, radical people from within. Our country is doomed. I think it's doomed. This country is doomed. It's doomed. A country can be doomed. You look at the Roman Empire, you look at the British Empire, you look at so many different empires, they were not even thinking about doom. And this country's not far away. The greatest threat to civilization today is, it's probably, more than anything else, ourselves.
That specific recording of the national anthem was done by January 6 people, by the way. Thank you, Vic Berger, for that very interesting edit. Disturbing, funny, good stuff. Oh look, Terrence! He wants to sell more pancakes, so it's time to yell at Obama, hypothetically.
Warning right now, you might not like. I'm giving everybody a fair warning right now. You might not like my language in this video, so move on if you have sensitive ears. And also, send this video to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, I need to holler at you. Sit down.
Send this video to Barack Obama.
Now, so I can holler at you and look at me when I'm talking to you, okay? So it took me a day to respond because I wanted to give you time to think about how stupid you sound when you say you are ashamed that black people are not supporting Kamala Harris. And Barack Obama, do you not realize that this is America? You are a former president.
Yeah, he can be disappointed in people who do stupid things. That's allowed. That's also a thing you get to do in America.
So you should realize, so you should know that this is America. And black people have the right to vote for and support whoever they want.
Yeah, and he can be disappointed that you're making bad decisions that hurt you. Whatever. Do you?
Black people have the right to support and vote for whoever they want.
He didn't say you didn't. He said he's disappointed if what you're saying is correct, which is fair. Miles with a $5 super chat says, sorry I can't contribute more regularly, but I appreciate all you do, Hannah. Send this chat to Barack Obama. I'll do my best. Thank you very much for the support. Benikagami says, isn't it wild that the nationalists keep just talking shit constantly about America? Like, leftists hate America, but they don't seem to hate it anywhere near the level of modern right-wingers. Like, they never say nice things about where we live. It is pretty funny. Pretty funny.
I have the right to wear this red hat. I have the right to support Trump. Black people don't have...
Literally no one said you didn't.
...to support Kamala Harris.
Okay. Don't.
Who do you... Barack Obama.
And Barack Obama will be disappointed in you. You don't have to give a shit. But a lot of people will be disappointed in you. It's a bad decision. Your decisions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences are people think you're an idiot. That's fine.
People have to do what you say? We don't have to do what you say. Who do you think you are? You are not God. We don't have to worship you. You want us to get down on our knees and worship you.
I don't think he said that. This is getting a little weird. Fennikagami says, you have a right to be an idiot, and the rest of us have a right to criticize you for being an idiot. Big Dick Energy says, I have a theory that MAGA guy is actually a child actor from Cop and a Half. Your thoughts? Okay. I can see the resemblance a little bit. Chitara says, as a black man in America, I'm disappointed in black people who aren't voting for Kamala. They're voting against their own interests, even if they don't know it. They have the right not to, but at the same time, there's a real primal part of me that feels like they're betraying the rest of us.
And bow down to you, boy, bye. Do you think you are the ruler of black people? Do you think you are?
This is like the wildest reaction to someone just saying they're disappointed in a hypothetical group of people. It's not even like he was talking to Terrence specifically. This is a wild overreaction.
The king of the black community? Huh? No. You act like you own us. You act like you own black people. You don't own me. Okay? So be ashamed all you want. I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. I'm
Okay. That was allowed. Correct.
not doing it. And a lot of black people are not doing it.
This is just wildly defensive.
And you want to know why, Barack Obama? Because don't nobody like her. And people realize now that voting for somebody based on the color of their skin is not going to help them. It's not a great idea.
Not based on the color of her skin, about policies and how they'll affect you and the groups that you are a part of.
You know why black people want to vote for Trump and not Kamala? Huh? Because they realize that Trump actually cares about this country and Trump will do what's best for everybody, including black people.
And that's why people are saying they're disappointed in you, because if that's what you really believe, that's based on just delusion. That's not anything Trump has ever demonstrated himself to be. That's why people are disappointed or mock you. You're still allowed to do it. You just look like a dick.
And black people realize that you bamboozled and tricked them into voting for you based on the color of your skin. Now black people realize that that's not a great idea because we had a black president who didn't do a damn thing for black people. Trump did more for black people than you.
Such as?
You bamboozled and tricked black people into voting for you. Well, vote for me because I'm black. And you...
I did. Not what... Oh, is he... That's not what Obama's campaign was? Does he remember Obama's campaigns? Does he really think Obama was going around being like, ah, yes, I'm a black man, so you should vote for me? Like, that's not how it went.
You made black people think you were going to do all these magical things. And you were promising all this false hope. And didn't do nothing. Nothing. Black people did not get anything out of you. Do you know who benefited from you being the first black president? You did, Barack Obama. You are the only person who benefited from you being the first black president. You, Barack Obama, you are the only one who benefited. You left the White House and...
Does he remember health care prior to the Affordable Care Act? The Affordable Care Act isn't all it should have been, but it was better than the previous state of things in which you could literally be denied insurance because of pre-existing conditions. So, like, what are you talking about?
Made millions of dollars. Black people didn't get anything that you promised them. But you want to run your mouth. You want to yap off at the mouth and talk about why black people are not supporting Kamala like they supported you. They made a mistake supporting you. Because you are a lying piece of shit.
Reminder that this is all in the service of his real business, which is selling people anti-woke pancakes. This is an advertisement for his anti-woke pancakes. Which, I'm not having a stroke or doing Mad Libs. That's a real thing.
And you don't own us. So go sit your black ass down somewhere. And get out of my damn face, fool.
Got him.
Screw you.
Want to see his pancakes?
Production.
Hold on.
Some of y'all gonna hate this and some of y'all gonna love this. If this offends you, move on. If this hurts your feelings, move on. If this triggers you, move on. I don't care. I've been so excited to announce this. I was supposed to last week, but I was busy up in North Carolina helping out with Hurricane Helene, so I didn't get a chance to. But now I finally do. This is my Fight pancake mix and my Never Surrender syrup.
Benikagami says, this vote for me because I'm black talking point is a symptom of conservatives' obsession with tribalism and identity politics. They assume that's the message because that's how they would run the campaign.
People, we got to continue to fight and never surrender. And I can already see the comments now. Terrence, how could you be a black man supporting Trump? Oh.
Alright, so he sells pancakes. Well, that's fun. Oh, he says FEMA can't be trusted.
We had volunteers.
It's nice that he brought pancakes.
Passed out today unloading trucks.
Regardless of the fact that I dislike him, it's nice that he gave some pancakes to people. Ah, Terry. Oh no, Steven Anderson. Did I want to cover the Steven Anderson thing today? I don't know.
You know, I've been thinking that since we have people who do not know why they're voting for Kamala Harris, they just know they need to go vote for Kamala Harris.
Because I like her policy positions more than Donald Trump, and I trust her as a leader more than Donald Trump, and also all of the things Donald Trump wants to do are horrifying and I think not good for the country.
They're basically adult children. They cannot articulate, logically think or do.
You're gonna come at me about logic, sir? I'm dressed as Spock.
Critical analysis on anything that they do. They just need to be told that, do this, and they'll do this. They don't really have any critical thinking skills. As we've seen multiple times, asked, why are you voting for Kamala Harris? Why do you think we should vote for Kamala Harris? First black woman, whatever. They don't really can't give you a good...
He's citing man on the street interviews? Never look at man on the street interviews like they're real. The people in the editing always get to decide which interviews you see, and it's always the most extreme ones, no matter who's doing the man on the street thing. So they can be entertaining, but never assume that the sample you get from a man on the street video is indicative of the overall population, because they specifically pick the interesting ones. Gitara says, Terrence, I wonder how you'll feel when you're accosted by Vance's deportation squad for accusing you of being an immigrant. Because that's the kind of thing that's going to happen to non-white people if Trump wins. They're going to have dudes running around grabbing up minorities under the pretense that they're immigrants. They'll sort it out if they're illegal or not after they've been arrested and carted to the, quote, holding camps, per J.D. Vance. Sheba Hawk with a 3-stream streak says, everyone be sure to vote for Kamala and force everyone you know to do the same. Please.
Good logical explanation. They don't know why they're doing it. They just know they need to do it because Orange Man bad. So... I'm just wondering, how many of them are actual people, like genetically real people?
Oh! This is gonna go to some dark places, methinks. Forrest Espion says, this is sad how Terrence is leaning into the they took Aunt Jemima, so use my image for your strange racist pancakes. That's the vibe I'm getting from this guy. What's your thoughts, Hannah? Why do some black people kiss up so bad to racist white people? I imagine the same reason Blair White does her thing. They think it's a defense strategy. They think if they're one of the good ones, they'll be safe. Not true. It's never been true.
Oh, we're about to get into conspiracy theory area. I'm just wondering, how many of them are just automatons, not real people? They're just like literal NPCs in real life.
In case anyone needs to hear this, there is no such thing as NPCs in real life. This is a scary conspiracy theory that is causing certain people to walk around thinking other human beings aren't real people. This is dehumanization of your political enemies to an extreme extent. It's horrifying. If you can stop seeing other human beings as human beings, it becomes a lot easier to perpetrate violence upon them because you don't think they're a person. They're fake. So not great. Not great that I've been seeing this on the right a lot, them calling everyone who disagrees with them NPCs.
Are they real, or are they just placeholders for votes for Democrats so they win elections? Because they don't seem like real people. Like, you ask them a question, they should at the very least be able to give you a normal, coherent answer, even if it's wrong. I'm not asking Democrats to be right all the time, as I'm not asking conservatives or Republicans or even Kennedy Democrats or anybody to be...
Kennedy Democrats? Big Dick Energy with 40 bits says, is it weird I find this sound clip perversely funny?
Look at those beautiful swastikas. We gotta make America white again.
Oh yeah, this is the Nazis at the Trump boat thing.
Hail Trump.
White power.
White power.
The advocacy group Stop Anti-Semitism alleges the...
Jesus. Fucking people.
Right all the time. I'm just asking, can you logically think for a moment? Even if you're a socialist...
And also, it's a little weird you find it funny, but, you know, people find weird things funny.
You can put some logic behind your socialist agenda.
Socialist agenda? I just don't want people to be mass deported, and I don't want tariffs on everything because it'll make everything more expensive.
Articulate a good, coherent reason for why this or that socialistic program should be enacted. In some places it actually did work, such as, where is it? In... Damn it, I can't remember the country.
I don't understand in what universe he thinks Kamala has proposed any socialistic anything. Democrats aren't even pushing any sort of, like, healthcare reform this election or anything like that, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Not Finland. They had one... Sweden, that's the one. In Sweden, they actually had certain socialistic programs, such as the nationalization of the oil, and it actually works. They put it into a fund, which the government takes out some money and then distributes the wealth to everybody else. Anyway, there's a long story behind that. Doesn't matter. The point is that it actually works. Sometimes, I know conservatives, it's crazy, right? But sometimes socialism, if done correctly, sometimes can work. I'm not endorsing it by any stretch of the imagination. Doesn't matter. The point is that sometimes you could articulate even a bad idea in a good way. You could put some logic behind it. You could back it up with some data. You could do something with even with a bad idea. But nonetheless, Democrats nowadays, they can't even... I mean, specifically the Kamala voters. I'm not talking about Kennedy voters. They actually know what's going on.
The most brainwormed of brainworm voters. Yeah, they're really on the ball.
That's why they know why they're voting for Kennedy.
Because they're anti-vaxxers and idiots.
The Jill Stein voters, at least I assume they can tell you why they're voting for Jill Stein. And
they're big fans of Russian assets.
And Cornel West, the same story. But Kamala voters, generally speaking, they can't. So are they like real human beings? Are they actual, like, how do we know that there's not a electronic chip in their brain telling them, you need to vote for Kamala Harris? Like, do they have an actual job? Are they real people? Besides working in coffee shops, are they actual real people? Do they actually exist?
Does he think that working in a coffee shop isn't a real job? How do you expect people to get coffee at a place? It's a job. What's your problem, man?
Or do they go to their, I don't know, charging station and recharge every 24 hours or so? I don't know. Like, they actually exist. I don't know. For those who haven't figured it out yet, I'm just being comical. Obviously, they're real people. Maybe not. I'm joking. But this is a serious question. Like, how do you get a population to be so incredibly dumb? You can vote for Kamala Harris. At least know why you're doing it. Imagine stabbing yourself in the face and somebody asks you why you're doing that. And I don't know. Orange man bad. First black woman. I don't know. Like, what? What? Racism. Misogyny. Is that the word? Adolf Hitler. The effing... What? Like, can you articulate an...
Do you understand that a candidate being racist and misogynistic or lauding Hitler can indeed be reasons not to vote for them? Fun fact. Talking about that as if it's like a non-issue. That's interesting.
Argument for why you're stabbing yourself in the face?
Does he actually have a problem understanding other people's perspectives? Because, like if I were to steel man, like, a Trump supporter and why they're doing it, I could do so. I could try and explain why a Trump supporter believes Trump is best for the country. I think they're wrong, but I understand their incorrect perspective. But it seems like he's not capable of doing the opposite and understanding that people on the left, like, do have a model of the world that they believe would be better if Kamala rather than Trump wins. It's weird that he seems to genuinely not understand that.
TV people on the screen told me. The screen people told me. TikTok told me. Like, are you your own person? Are you even a human being?
I'm sorry, have you seen a Trump rally and all the matching everything in the slogans? Weird projection.
What makes you human? Well, I have 5 fingers. I have 10 fingers on both hands, and another.
Famously, that's what Descartes said. I have 10 fingers, therefore I exist.
10 fingers on both feet. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
You say you have fingers on your feet?
Monkeys do too. Like, what makes you human? I have a tongue. Yeah, basically every animal. Like, what makes you? You have critical thinking skills. You can critically assess and do an analysis on what you're doing, if it is good or if it is bad. You can think twice before you do something. Like this is crucial for you being a human being, and yet they don't behave like humans. They behave like robots, like automatons.
Everyone who disagrees with me is a robot.
I remember a guy being like, like you're working in a coffee shop somewhere, and like you got to think like that's not a career. You got to do that. And I remember talking to the guy and being like, so do you think no one should work in a coffee shop? And he was like, I wouldn't. And I was like, but I'm asking you, do you think coffee shops shouldn't exist? And he was like, no, I love coffee. And I was like, so you're bad.
Yeah.
Like, do you see that you are saying it should exist, and if you want it to exist, you should want it to be that anyone who works there, because again, we're agreeing it's good and necessary.
Yeah.
Coffee shops are actually better than what you do. It's better to pour a cup of coffee than whatever fucking thing you do all day. Right? That's a nice, cool thing to do that's good to do, is to make a good cup of coffee. So someone doing that should live in dignity and comfort and safety, right? We all think that is true. And like the idea that he was like, no, it should exist and it should hurt and be bad to do it. I remember a guy being like,
yeah, Brennan's great.
Like, the very...
H-Bird says, taxes are what makes us humans. Think about it. Animals don't pay taxes. AI doesn't pay taxes. QED. We did it.
Bad AI, when AI first started out, that's how they act.
I knew Kent Hovind wasn't a real person.
Pre-programmed. Like, they don't have a real life. Their life is controlled by I don't know what, who, or when. But it's not, but these aren't actual beings. They exist for alternative purposes other than their own life. Like, what is their self-value? They can't tell you.
Like, this is bordering on solipsism. This is fucked up.
It doesn't mean you could do any... And of course, this... Oh, that's dehumanizing. They're dehumanizing themselves.
I'm not dehumanizing them. They're doing it. Oh, God. Oh. The aggression isn't concerning commingled with this. That's great.
And this is not a... I need to say this because I know there are so many retards. It's not a call to violence or saying that, and therefore you could do any violence because they're not real people. No. Absolutely, you can't do that.
But he's definitely thought about it based on what he just said. He's like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Ominously stares at camera too long.
But I'm just genuinely curious to know... What would it take to create such a...
Yes, Gothic game.
What's the word I'm looking for here? Automatic population? I don't know. A population that can't think for themselves. What does it take? Like genuinely, can they be this stupid? Can they be this retarded?
Rank 2?
I'm confused. I'm actually confused. I'm not confused by the Jill Stein voters. I'm not confused by the Cornel West voters. I'm not confused by the Kennedy voters. I'm not confused by Trump voters. I'm not confused by Obama voters. I'm not confused by these people because they can tell you why they're voting a certain way. Even if it's a bad way of voting, even if they're wrong, they can at least tell you. They know what they're doing. The communists can tell you what they are doing. Even though they're probably lying to you, and they're also wrong, but nonetheless they can tell you, they can articulate a sentence These other, the Kamala voters, they can't. They genuinely can't, generally speaking. How many videos do I have to see of people asking Kamala voters, give me one?
There it is again. Yeah, he's literally just watching right-wing propaganda pieces where they take people on the street with the worst answers, and he assumes that's a valid sample that is representative of the cross-section of Harris voters. Jesus Christ.
One accomplishment of Kamala Harris. No idea. No clue. One reason, nothing. And the ones that do give you a reason can't give you a reason without mentioning Trump. They have to also include Trump in the equation. Like,
okay, that can be a reason. Defensive voting is a thing.
Can you give me an argument for why you should vote for Kamala Harris without using the word Trump? Do not use...
Why? I don't have to. I don't have to justify a vote to you. What a weird thing. Explain this thing to me, but don't explain it in a way I don't like. Like, it's a completely valid thing. If someone only wanted to vote for Kamala just because they thought Donald Trump smelled bad, that would be a valid vote. Like, anyone can vote for any reason, my friend.
Use it. Do not mention the guy. Do not talk about him. Can you do that? They can't. Like, what is that? I'm so confused.
Okay, let me explain it. They are the options. So if you pick one, you're rejecting the other. So it's a dichotomy. So if you're picking one, it makes sense to explain why you're not picking the other. Glad I could explain that to you, because those are the two options.
I can give you thousands of reasons why to vote for Trump. I can give you reasons why to vote for Jill Stein. I can give you reasons...
Give me 5 reasons to vote for Trump.
Why to vote for Cornel West. I can give you reasons. I don't agree with him, but I can at least give you reasons. As a conservative, I can tell you why you should vote for Jill Stein. I can give you as a conservative. They can't, even as a liberal, they can't give you a reason why to vote for Kamala Harris. This is so confusing. If anybody of you can, please help me out here. How you create such a retarded population.
Break 3.
Can you please help me out in understanding what this is about? Because it's so frustrating.
There's 20 seconds left, so I'm just going to finish it. It did get to strike 3.
I'm trying to figure this out. Doesn't make any sense. The only conclusion is that they are children. And another video on that coming up on explaining what I think is actually wrong with liberals. They're not retarded, although I use that word a lot. They're not retarded. They're just children. We'll talk about it in a different video.
Wow, we got 2 extra strikes on the end there. What a douchebag. Freyline says, fun fact, I can articulate why I'm voting for Harris. If someone approached me on the street with a camera and asked me, my mind is going blank and I wouldn't be able to answer. Yeah, people aren't good at interviews. Yeah, he did speedrun the last couple. I will be right back. I have to use the bathroom. Oh, Big Dick Energy says, a real quick cleanse. We'll do that and then we'll continue. Wait, that's me. What's wrong with me? I'll be back in a sec. Be right back. H-Beard, sorry, 1 sec. H-Beard says why street interviews are worthless.
Miss, for $1.
For $1, name a woman.
Name a woman.
Name a woman?
Yeah. Who?
Who?
No, name a woman.
Name a woman?
Yeah. Yoga bag. Name a woman.
Sorry.
No, name a woman.
Name a woman?
Yes, go.
Any?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
This is so hard.
Name a woman. Name a woman. Name a woman. No.
Okay, so, Steven Anderson, a pastor of an extremist church, was recently outed, as being a, basically, alleged serial child abuser, and spousal abuser. He was accused by his children, and he's upsetty spaghetti about that. So here's his sermon where he's trying to respond to those allegations.
And the title of my sermon this morning is My Answer to Them Who Examine Me. My answer to them who examine me. This is a quote from the Apostle Paul in the book of 1 Corinthians, because in both 1 and 2 Corinthians, there are people that are hurling false accusations at the Apostle Paul. And so, especially in 2 Corinthians, he spends a lot of time defending himself about the things that he's being accused of. And 1 Corinthians 9:3 says, mine answer to them that do examine me is this, and I'm going to give you my answer today to those who examine me. I have 7 different points that I want to give you this morning. If you would start by turning to 1 Samuel chapter 28. Point number 1, my accusers teamed up with a literal Satan-worshiping transvestite. Amen.
Okay, so, his kid went on Dead Domain's show and did an interview when this stuff came out. Dead Domain is trans, like myself. Don't know about the accusations of Satan worship, but, she is trans.
Okay, and you know what? We could pretty
Benikagami says, warnings for transphobia. Oh, yeah.
much almost just close our Bibles and go home right now. Okay? Because anybody with a brain in their head knows that you don't go to Satan to tell the truth. You go to Satan because you want to tell lies.
Yeah, she doesn't worship Satan. Didn't think so. So his first thing is basically, the accusations of abuse against me can't be true because they were told to a trans woman. Not a great start.
Okay? Now look, this channel that has put out these videos, it literally, as its background, has a lamb on it with a Satan symbol on the lamb's forehead, a pentagram in the lamb's forehead. The guy is...
Yeah, that seems like a pretty tongue-in-cheek thing.
In drag. He is a man...
Not in drag. Dead Domain is a trans woman.
And dressed up as a woman. The video that all these Christians are promoting this week and sending around all over the internet, literally you click on it.
I mean, he probably isn't doing great. He probably has aged. In fairness, I haven't seen him lately. I haven't seen him until this stuff broke. But, like, yeah, he's probably stressed out.
The first thing you're going to see is a man in makeup in a flowery dress with a Satan symbol. Oh, you guys need to see this and whatever. Well, they had to go to... And they keep calling him Jordan. I'm like, Jordan is a river in Israel. Don't humanize this freak, this pervert, this animal. He said, well, you know, they had to go to this tranny or whatever. You know what? You don't think I have just beaucoup enemies that would just love to have guests on to talk crap about me? But isn't it interesting that all 3 of them, they all went to a transvestite, open faggot, reprobate. And you know why? Because God is showing people who's telling the truth and who's lying. That's why.
Wow, his whole first defense is just slurs. Yeah, the strike rule doesn't work for him. He's a terrible person. He's gonna use slurs. Benikagami says, Dead Domain is non-binary, pronouns they, them, theirs. I apologize. I did not know that. So I apologize for the misuse of she pronouns.
You say, well, it's a he said, she said thing. Yep, you know what? And anybody who actually loves the Lord and loves the truth can easily figure out the truth, because God in his providence worked it out where my enemies were too stupid to actually attack me in a way that could even be seen as legitimate, but they all went straight to literal Satan, so that everybody who actually cares about the truth and what the Bible says will know that they're lying, because Satan is the father of lies.
Oh, he's mad. He's mad.
Look at 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 6. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not.
H. Baird says, hey, Steven Anderson, just because you know my nickname from junior high doesn't mean we're friends.
Neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophets. Oh, I called the preachers in the new IFB, and they won't answer me. That's because you're full of crap, that's why!
Gitara says, look, I'm a priest of Paul. However, this Satan guy seems pretty neat if he's cool with you living your best life. If this guy is one of the God's best soldiers, then this God fella needs to bring his A game if Satan is his enemy in some war.
God's not
Jordan had fun watching this. It was great. Yeah, I gotta watch that stream, apparently.
helping me. The pastors aren't helping me. They're not helping you because you're a liar. That's why you had to go to the witch at Endor.
The witch at Endor. That is a reference to the Bible, but that's pretty funny.
The Bible says in verse...
when a biblical figure went to a seer? God, what story was that? Saul?
7, then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a dude in drag. Seek me a woman that has a familiar spirit. Another word for a familiar spirit is a demon. Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her, it, them, that I may inquire of them, it, they, she, whatever the pronouns are, and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there's a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor, also known as Dead Domain.
An actual named shout out.
Now, if you would flip over to 1 Chronicles chapter number 10, verse 13. 1 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 13. Well, I'm not there to watch the tranny. Yeah, and I bet you buy Playboy magazine, but you're not there for the pictures, you're just there for the articles, right?
It's fucking unhinged. I'm sorry. I didn't expect him to be this, like, upset and triggered by Dead Domain just being trans. This is kind of incredible.
You just read the articles, right? I'm not there for the train. Let me tell you something. I don't care if my worst enemy were being exposed on some transvestite channel. I would never share some transvestite video in a million years.
We're safe then. I'm good.
You say, well, this other pastor, you know, he uploaded a video of him interviewing a transvestite. Well, you know, I didn't watch that crap, and I never will. I don't look at transvestites. Look at 1 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 13. And you say, I don't know, man. You know, I don't. Maybe you're a first-time visitor or something, and you just walked in. You know what? Hey, all these doors open outward, and half of them have push bars now. So feel free to get up and leave anytime. We're doing fine.
Unfortunately, H. Baird, that might be true. There is a weird thing where transphobes tend to sexualize trans people. I know there have been a few right-wing figures that have been caught with that in their search history. And it was like a meme, basically, back in the day before Twitter got destroyed, that if you got some sort of transphobic messages, if you went to their account, it looked at their liked posts. There were almost always some sort of lewd trans material. It's pretty funny. Gothgeek Gaming says, I never thought I'd see someone this upsetty spaghetti. He's so mad.
Here, look at 1 Chronicles chapter 10, verse 13. So Saul died for his transgression which he committed against the Lord, even against the word of the Lord which he kept not. And also, why did he die? Why did Saul die? Also for asking counsel of one that had a familiar spirit to inquire of it. I mean, Saul going to the witch at Endor is like, that's it, you're done. You're dead. That's what God says in the Word of God. No one on the side of truth is using a satanic broadcast to get their message out. I mean, why do I even have to say this? But you know what? People are so stupid that they don't understand this. And you know what? If you're...
How much of this is he not even going to address the allegations and just complain that where the message is coming from? That's so transparently bad. That's so transparently a weak position to come from. Chitara says, bright side, I'm feeding off his sweet, sweet mania, knowing that he's suffered a loss in the so-called culture war, that he'll one day pass from this mortal coil knowing he failed, much like that old fella Pat Robertson.
You're too stupid. If at this point in the sermon, you're already too stupid to figure out who's telling the truth, please get up and...
He doesn't address the allegations? Seriously? This is an hour-long video. Benikagami says, ironically, because he never saw the videos with his children, Anderson ends up verifying some of the allegations. Seriously, he tries to dismiss them or reframe the allegations in ways that actually prove his children were telling the truth. That makes sense.
Just leave right now. Just get out of your seat. The piano will begin to play. Would you come and get out of here? Because you know what? I'm not here to babysit retards. Okay.
Wow. A fucking pastor.
Okay? It's a literal Satan channel. You know what? It's funny, on this same satanic channel, I went to the channel, I looked at what the most popular video is. You want to know what the most popular video is? It's this thing infiltrating a good Bible-believing Baptist church up in Spokane, Washington, and filming people, I guess, without... Now, here's the... I haven't seen 5 seconds of it, and I never will. But what's...
Talking about dead domain.
Funny is that when this thing came out, everybody's sending me links and saying, oh, you gotta watch, you gotta see this, you gotta watch this, you gotta see this. Like, I mean, even, you know, good people are sending me these links, and I'm just like, why would I watch this? I'm like, if these people are being filmed without knowing it, this guy's going into a Baptist church, filming his conversations with people. I don't want people filming me and recording me and uploading my private conversations. So why would I watch someone else, you know, do that? Why would I watch some documentary that's just about mocking or exposing the people who are just going to church, a Bible-believing church? I don't watch that junk. Amen. And you know, I'm sure some of you have watched it, but you know what? I don't know why. I don't really understand why. And maybe you need to think about things like that in the future, that, you know, why would you do that? The Bible says in Ephesians 5:11, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. And the fact, and you say, well, there's a...
What channel is he exposed on? Dead Domain. Check out Dead Domain's channel.
Subsequent interview that's not on the Tranny channel. Watch that. Hey, the fact that all three of them, the first place they went was to a literal transvestite, shows you the wickedness and the lies.
Is there any... I'm going to get past this part and see if he stops talking about the transness, because, like, I get it. He doesn't like trans people.
Time. I mean, have stayed with us for weeks or even months. I mean, he said, I've never even told him what to do. How does that even work? It's true, though. I don't tell Brother Segura what to do. I don't tell Raymond Cooper what to do. I don't tell Ramon Ventura what to do. I don't tell Corbin Russell what to do. Why? You know, I give them general principles. I explain to them the mission. I explain to them what needs to get done. And then I'm just like, all right, guys, let's get it done. And I give them tons of freedom. I let them do their own thing.
Peep Lord says, maybe it's the post-surgery painkillers kicking in, but it warms my heart that Rush Limbaugh is dead. He destroyed my family, and literally no one ever thinks about him or talks about him since he died. He was such a malignant entity, and ultimately his whole life was meaningless. That's the fate this guy's gonna meet at the end. Moira Soma says he doesn't think what he did was wrong, so I'm not sure why he's so angry. He thinks you should beat your children and your wife. He has said it often. I think it's just that his children are doing something he doesn't control that makes him angry. Yeah, that's a big narcissist thing. They're making him look bad. Even if he thinks something is right or wrong, they are out of his control and they are making him look bad. And that's intolerable to a narcissist.
Like, again, anybody who actually knows us just knows that these people are just throwing stuff at the wall, just lying and making crap up. Amen. How about this one? 20 spankings a day in my house, with 1/3 of them being in violation of Arizona law. Okay? Just let this sink in. 20 spankings a day, And approximately 1/3 of them, so apparently 7 times a day or 7 children a day, or 7 incidents a day of just bruising and bloodying or whatever, you know, the stupid accusations are. Well, then wouldn't somebody notice that over the last 20 years?
You're in an insular church that thinks all of that is okay. Like, pretty clear that everyone in your church is okay with this. They're applauding you about it. You have an insular, highly religious community that's a high control group that you're in charge of.
Come on now. Of us just...
He has like 11 kids and he hit them with an electrical cord. I did see that clip where one of the kids was talking about getting hit with the cord.
Being super involved.
People did notice CPS was called 3 times on him.
Involved in the community. I mean, it's not just that we go to church 3 times a week. We're super involved in the community. You know, in the summertime, we're hitting Pico's pool several...
Okay, I'm gonna pause this for now. I might want to cover this in its totality on like a Patreon stream or something, but I definitely need to watch the totality of those interviews before we get more into that, so I can at least more directly oppose the things he's saying. Is there anything else we need to do before the end of the night? Might be nice to get a cleanse or something. Chud watch is always really rough. Ernest Borgnine finds a Dairy Queen.
Where are we going now, Arnie? We're going to go into the dairy drive-in now, and we're going to have some ice cream for our dessert. We came to Altoona, not Pennsylvania, Iowa. And here we are.
There's your medium chocolate shake. Thank you.
You know what? Maybe there is a sausage video I want you to see. This is ridiculous, and I can't believe that he did this. Benny Kagami says his daughter's interview was probably the breaking point. He was especially obsessed with controlling her, to the point that her later accuses his own brother of basically being a PDF that kidnapped his daughter, and he's so mad at her for running away that she's worried he'll kill her. Oh, jeez.
Can you cook a steak with a hairdryer? I say yes. Mrs. Sausage says no. I've got $20 on the line saying that we can cook this steak with a hairdryer. What is an air fryer but just a glorified hairdryer in a box? I've had it focused on this spot for about 2 minutes, and as you can see, we're starting to get some browning.
I didn't see the sticker, Harold Doubleman, but it's in here almost certainly, and I'll find it after the stream.
The 10-minute point, and you can see the heat is slowly creeping along to the very end. I've just been keeping it on the right side of the steak. We're getting temperatures close to 200, so this steak is cooking. It's been 30 minutes. I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't know about you, but that looks like a cooked steak to me. I'd give that a medium to medium rare. Here we go! Oh, it's hot. It's pretty good. All right, now let's cut it where the heat didn't get to it as much. Looking almost the same, a little bit rarer, but pretty much the same. And then if we go all the way to the end, that's raw. But my method works perfectly for a small cut of steak, like a filet mignon or something equally puck-like. This is a success! Mrs. Sausage, you owe me $20.
I'm not paying.
So I'm gonna have to give the hairdryer steak a 5 out of 5.
Bop, 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 bop. I can't believe he ate that. Quick Chud-related cleanse. God, AI generations are horrifying. I'm disgusted. All right, let's see who we're gonna raid. Tomorrow we might be doing... There's a certain person that was sent to me by one of the chatters that I've never seen before that seems pretty interesting. If I can find enough material on them, it seems like I might be able to get into it. They're raw meat eating, I think, libertarian? We might do a whole stream on them if I find enough interesting material. If not, we'll do something else fun. Love you too, Mr. Blast. Who will we raid? Thanks it.
The support that's happening.
Right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow, and if I don't, I'll see you whenever you come back to the next stream. Make sure you join the Discord if you want to vote in the next costume poll, and Sunday we'll be doing a patron-only stream. And of course, YouTube members are also able to go to the patron-only stream this Sunday. So I hope to see you there. Have a great night. Live long and prosper. We did it. I said the thing from the franchise. We did it.